All right. So I do this all the time. I am very I'm a fan of memes, so expect memes whenever I conduct trainings. It lightens up the mood for everyone. So, yeah, thank you very much. It's such an honor to be the first speaker of the webinar series of XPERTO. And we are looking forward to a continuous partnership with Experto, Eman, and his team. For today, we will be tackling a topic which actually applies not just to a certain group of professionals, but to everyone. And we'll talk about essential skills. Now, I'm starting with this meme here. Um, so choose two: enough sleep, grades, or social life. And whatever your answer is, false. You just have to choose one. And I'm sure most, if not all of us, would agree that it can really be challenging to juggle things. Isa lang talaga ang pwede. Mamimili ka na lang talaga kung ano ang pwede. It's part of adulting eh. Um, but sometimes the challenge, especially for students or for fresh grads, we tend to focus more on the technical side, even for professionals, the technical side of who we are, kung ano talaga yung role or course na we took in college, that we forget all other things, including the essential skills. So that's the point of our topic today. We'll be talking about how do we build essential skills for our career development. So times have changed, no? The companies have changed with time. Lahat ang bilis ng pagbabago, especially with this new generation. Digital technology has revolutionized the workplace. No, kahit nga, as mentioned by Eman earlier, even certificates pwede online na din and can be verified na online. Hindi naman na kailangang i-keep sa isang folder or take a photo. Tas pag nawala yung phone, wala na sila. Pero kahit na things are changing, the employee behavior and the expectations are the same. If not, they've evolved. Medyo nag-iba din, nag-iba din ng konti. Um, Also, there are training methods that are present to meet yung growing demands. Everything is now digital. This webinar is a true testament that you can learn, no, without having to spend a lot through organizations similar to Psychological Group, to Experto. And there are alternative methods. Maybe about 5, 10 years ago, walang ganito. You really have to sign up, go to a physical location to learn. Ngayon, meron ng ganito eh. So everything is rapidly changing, and the digital technology has opened up training to everyone wherever they want it. No, nasa bahay, baka naka-shorts ka lang or naka-sando, but yet you get to learn. So besides mastering of technical skills, which you may already have dependent on ano yung tinake mo in college, it's also important for you to know how you can become an ideal candidate for employment. Ano ba yung mga dapat kong i-build para maging mapunta ako sa top of all the candidates, kasi marami yan eh, especially ngayong situation na to. um, Limited ang options and ang daming candidates, maraming talent. What can we do? Yes, maybe we're good engineers, kunwari, or we're good web developers, pero maraming magagaling din na katulad natin. So why should they hire us? Ano ba ang edge natin sa iba? So it's important nga that employees develop critical essential skills din. And we'll talk more kung ano ba tong essential skills na to. And they should be decisive, responsive, and flexible. And dapat it can adapt easily to the needs and expectations ng modern businesses, ng modern workplace. So research indicates that the ideal employee should have conducted by Deloitte in 2016. They found that over 90% of executives rated essential skills as their priority. 90% ha, ganun kadami. Their priority is the essential skills, not the technical aspect. This suggests that you may be limiting your career development if you do not develop your essential skills. Kung nagfo-focus ka lang sa technical side um, of the career, then nalilimitahan yung career development mo. You also need to look at how you can develop the other part, which is the essential skills. That's what we'll talk about in this session. We'll cover a list of the most common essential skills. I think I've listed about 7 um, essential skills, so you can identify the ones that you may want to improve. Maybe you already have them, but gusto mo lang i-improve or wala, and how to improve them. But first things first, what are essential skills? That's the skills are personal attributes. No, this is you as a person. This is typically linked to how you work and interact with others, which are necessary for success and your career development. Relationships with other people, which makes you visible for the right reasons. And dahil doon, it will unlock more career-related opportunities for you. Regardless of where you work, kung ano man trabaho ang ginagawa mo, saan ka man, kakailanganin mo talaga. That's why they called essential eh. Kailangan mo talaga ang mga skills na to. But the challenge is for many people, ito yung pinakamahirap. It's the most difficult na i-develop. Yan, ito yung pinakamahirap i-develop. I've prepared a table to differentiate yung sinasabi ko. No? Essential skills, or they're also known as soft skills, and yung hard skills natin. So hard skills, ito yung our abilities directly linked to a certain job, or ito yung mga job-specific skills natin, mga computer programming, data analysis, or pwedeng bricklaying, mga ganon. Mo talaga. Ito yung talagang aspect of a job. Yung mga quantifiable, testable, pwede mong i-test, pwede mong sukatin, that are easier to learn compared to essential skills. No, ito yung nag-highlight ng difference. For you to become the best of who you can be, the best candidate, you need to have both skill sets. And you need to form a balance with both, no, with each other, para ma-assist ka in your career development. So makita natin dito on our table, we have essential skills, emotional. They are emotional, sa emotions natin. Technical aspect naman sa hard skills. Essential is valuable for all jobs, regardless kahit anong industry mo. Importante yon. Hard skills would be specific lang sa isang role or sa isang career. Essential skills, hindi madaling matutunan. It will take time, a lot of training, a lot of actual exposure. Hard skills can be learned through training or through school. If you want to be yon, pag-aaralan mo yon. But essential is something na minsan it's already in you, minsan mahabang panahon of training din. Essential skills would determine your success, while yung hard skills, ito yung minimum requirement. Like, I would need a nurse. Of course, may minimum requirement, dapat registered nurse siya. Yun ang pinag-aralan niya. Pero may essential requirement would be dapat multitasker siya, dapat meron siyang empathy, meron siyang genuine na ang tawag dito, genuine na care for the patients. Hindi mo yun mapag-aaralan, hindi mo yun mami-measure. Paano ba i-measure kung gaano ka genuine, 'di ba? So I've listed 7 ng mga most common. Makikita nyo to in most job ads. And we'll talk more of each of them. First one being the most common, communication. So makikita nyo lagi yan. We're looking for someone with strong communication skills. Um, Written and verbal communication skills. Ito yung mga pinaka-important for majority of the jobs because they would help you interact effectively with all people na na-encounter mo sa work, mga customers mo, katrabaho mo, mga katransaksyon mo, lahat. And they will help you build strong, better relationships. You need to be able to communicate well in all platforms. Um, Face-to-face, video calls, especially ngayon, over the phone, email, meron na tayong mga email etiquette ngayon, and marami pang iba. Alongside this is the necessary development of active listening. Importante rin yun. That's also part of communication. Usually nasa first year, first sem pa lang, may subject na ganito eh. This is the technique where you need to focus on what the other person is actually saying rather than just waiting for your turn to speak. Yun ang problema eh. Meron akong nakikita lagi na famous na line na parang, we should not listen to respond. We should listen to understand. Parang ganon. Dapat makikinig ka, focus ka sa sinasabi niya. Hindi yun nagfo-focus ka kasi hinintay mo na ikaw na may magkasalita without even listening. Na-hear mo lang siya, hindi mo siya na-listen. Pag pinagsama mo tong dalawang to, then you are an effective communicator. And ano ba ang mga characteristics of an effective communicator? There are a lot. And we'll talk kung paano natin ma-achieve to later on. We'll go through the skills muna for now. Madami yan. Active listening, adaptability, meaning you're able to adapt yung communication style mo. Depende kasi kung sino kausap mo, you don't apply the same approach sa multiple na tao. You're clear, you can communicate clearly, merong confidence, assertiveness, importante ang constructive feedback, you know how to give it, you know how to receive it well. Emotional intelligence is also important. That's identifying and managing your emotions. Hindi mo hinahalo yung personal and professional as well as yung emotions ng ibang tao. Empathy is very important. Putting yourself in their shoes. Mas maintindihan mo yung sitwasyon nila. Interpersonal skills. These are social skills which are especially useful in building strong rapport. Meron din tayong interpretation of your body language. Paano ba yung mga gestures mo when you communicate. No? Ito yung mag-help for you to understand kung how they are feeling or for them to understand how you're feeling naman. It's also important that you're open-minded. No? You consider all things before you take action or you say something. Patience is another trait of being an effective communicator. And you know how to simplify the complex. So, mahirap explain, pero alam mo kung paano simplihan. You know how to simplify it. And storytelling, that's another thing that's really important kasi people love hearing stories. No? It's important characteristic of being an effective communicator. Next, that is important na essential skill would be teamwork. And you'll see that a lot then. Able to work with teams. Importante din yan. For a business to function effectively, importante that people work together, no? Kahit bata pa lang, even sa schools, ano na yan, tinuturo na yan sa work. Teamwork is always important. That's important for to achieve a common goal, to qualify the yung quality, sorry, ng work would improve kung lahat ng tao, if the people use their individual strengths and skills together. Kasi lahat tayo unique eh. But if we use everything together in collaboration, then mas maganda yung quality ng work. To be a team player, importante to for I would say all employers. Gusto ko syempre, kung ako, I'm sure kahit ikaw, if you'll hire someone, gusto mo yung marunong makisama, knows how to work with a team, knows how to contribute, no? Kasi there will be less conflict. Ito nga, may less conflict. It's less likely na aalis yung mga tao, that people will leave dahil lahat nagtutulungan eh. And the workplace will be more attractive for future employees, no? Even for current and future employees. The challenge dito, some people struggle with teamwork kasi they believe na they know how to do the job better. Yun ang problema eh. We sometimes think na mas alam natin to kaysa sa kanila. Mas mabilis to, ako na lang gagawa. And doon nag-uumpisa yung challenge. We always think that we know how to do the job better than anyone else. And we have a hard time trusting others to do their roles, na parang baka pumalpak, baka pumali, madamay ako. Dito mag-uumpisa yung conflict, and it would hurt the overall effectiveness of the team. Kaya importante ang skill na to. That's why it's part of the essential skills. If you have all of these, then you are an effective team player. Kung wala ka nito, don't claim that you are an effective team player. Maraming characteristics yan. We have active listening. Again, it's important. Communication nga being our number one. Listening to the concerns, opinions, and ideas of others. We are assertive but not aggressive, no? Hindi ka naman agresibo, pero ano ka? Pabibo pero hindi naman agresibo. Collaborate, coordinate, cooperate. Importante yung mga yan. We know how to delegate. That's also important. If someone, we feel na merong isa, one or more sa group na medyo stronger yung skills nila sa part na to, mas magaling sila maybe sa creative part, kahit tayong leader, we must know how to delegate para sa overall outcome. Hindi yung tayo lahat dahil akala tayo yung magaling. Empathy is also there. We know how to follow. If we're not the leader, we know how to follow the guidelines of our leader or leaders kung marami. Again, communication will form part of teamwork. We know how to give and receive constructive feedback. We know how to mediate, to bring about agreement. Medyo hindi nagkakasundo yung parties within, merong mga iba-ibang opinion. We know paano pumagitna and not choosing sides. Negotiation, yan, same din nun. And to compromise. We share information and ideas. Hindi natin pinagadamot yung alam natin. Another important na medyo ang hirap hanapin sa isang empleyado is sharing the credit. Yung ginawa ng buong team, lahat nagtulong-tulong pero siya lang yung nag-angkin nung credit na ginawa niya. You're not an effective team player pag ganon. It's also important that you show appreciation and value for the skills of others, their experiences and contributions. And you support the plan. Ito, medyo mahirap to pero this is important for a successful outcome. You support the plan even if you don't completely agree. No, hindi ka talagang 100% agree dun sa plano, but share information, assess, collaborate para maging positive yung outcome and not parang ano ka na kaagad because you don't agree on some parts, hindi ka na magpa-participate. All right. Next would be adaptability. So there are things na common to na hindi laging kung ano yung gusto natin or nakasanay natin, ganun yung nangyayari. No? Things don't always go the way they should. Lagi yan. It's important that we know how to adapt to these situations kasi everything changes. No? The workplace, lagi nagbabago. About half a year ago, sino mag-aakala na magkakaroon ng COVID and everyone would be working from home, everyone had to go to online meetings, etc. Wala. Pero nangyari and we need to be adaptable to change. So it's important na we know we have that skill. We understand that everything constantly shifts and everything changes. Kapag ganito, your employers, the employers will feel more comfortable kapag yung ganun, alam nila na that their employees can adapt to the change and proactive sila actually and learning how to deal with itong mga changes natin, including attending training sessions or maybe conducting their own research. Bago to sa akin, hindi ko alam to. So, pag-aaralan ko, parang ganon. It's also good that people remain positive. Pag merong change, mas madali kasi yun for the employer and accept it instead of resisting. No, pass your learning on to your colleagues para yung transition nila mas madali, lalo na kung nauna ka. The employee na merong ganito that can work in this way, sobrang valuable nila sa isang organization. And there are skills which are there. I'll share the slide with the team and those who have availed will get a copy of the slide in the interest of time. Next would be problem solving. So most jobs, lahat, I think 100% of the jobs would involve problem solving. Kailangan mo talagang solusyonan yung isang problema. This is where you think of solutions to deal with any problem, madali, komplikado. Meron talagang aspeto ng trabaho natin that we need to solve problems. And usually, yung mga top performers natin, sila yung nagde-deal with the difficult challenges because they have strong problem-solving skills. This type of creative thinking can actually lead to improvements within the company. Kaya if you feel that your boss entrusts you with a lot of stuff na parang ikaw mismo hindi ka sure kung kakayanin mo, it only means that they are certain na kakayanin mong gawin ito because you have demonstrated maybe in the past or through your actions na kaya mo, that you can work your way around dun sa issue na yon. By having this, you become an effective problem solver. Excuse me. Next would be leadership. Well, we see this a lot. Strong leadership skills. Importante yan. Leadership skills, it's actually parang a mixture of all other essential skills. It also helps you work independently or with a team, pero you still take charge and guide them to work more effectively. Ang mahirap lang sa leadership skills, ito yung pinakamahirap i-develop by yourself. Kaya ito actually yung essential skill na pinakamahirap i-develop. Kaya nagkalat ang leadership trainings. Madami, almost all training providers meron yan. Supervisory training, managerial training, leadership training, madami yan. Kasi ito yung pinakamahirap na essential skills na matutunan. Minsan, it's already in you. Minsan, kailangan mo talagang pag-aralan kung paano, how you can become an effective leader. No? And here are the characteristics of being an effective leader. Moving on would be strong work ethics. This is important. Having a strong work ethic would prove to your manager that you believe that the work is important. No, naniniwala ka na, okay, itong trabahong to, importante ito sa boss ko, importante ito sa akin, importante ito sa kumpanya. And because naniniwala ka that it's important, you are punctual. You are punctual. You are organized, you meet deadlines, you remain focused. It means you can work independently, pero you can still follow orders. Meron ding mga times that you have to carry out jobs below your level. If you're a supervisor, if you're a manager, may mga times na kahit hindi mo na trabaho, trabaho ng staff mo na mas mababa sa'yo, ginagawa mo na din. This actually is really good because it shows your employer that you're willing to get the job done regardless. No? Hindi wala yung hindi ko trabaho yan so hindi ko yan gagawin. So it sends the message to your employer na kapag ito yung kailangan gawin, kahit hindi mo siya trabaho, gagawin mo siya. Ganun ka-strong yung mo and yung paano mo, how you feel that a strong work ethic is usually a natural ability. Minsan natural na yan sa isang tao na talagang matulungin, talagang punctual, talagang organized. Pwede rin naman na nag-gain mo lang through experience. And lastly, we have at least marami to, but these are the common would be time management. Trying to do everything at once. Minsan ganyan tayo eh. We wanted to do everything ng minsanan, work, and it can actually madalas can lead to feel disorganized and stress. Kadami-dami mong ginagawa at the same time, ang nangyayari, instead na meron kang matapos, lalo pang gumugulo, and mas nasa-stress ka pa. Time management is a way of delegating your time naman sa sarili mo. Delegating your time for specific activities. Itong oras na to, ito yung gagawin ko. Itong araw na to, ito yung gagawin ko. This also allows you to manage your workload and time effectively para mas you can be as busy ka, maraming ginagawa sabay-sabay pero wala kang natapos. Productive ka, you are prioritizing things, meron kang na-achieve. You must also be able to prioritize your tasks and complete them before they become urgent. And may mga times then that you need to know how and when to delegate certain tasks to others. Kasi nga, prioritize mo ito, akong gagawa ito, kaya na niya to, siya nang gagawa nito. Diba? All right. So, sharing another meme. And we always hear this sa school, no? Your answer is correct, but you didn't use my method, so I'm going to give you half credit. Tapos sinunod yung gusto ko eh. So, half of the credit lang ang bibigay ko sa'yo. So, we need, going back to the question earlier, what is it that truly differentiates one candidate from another during the application process? Now, whether nasa initial stage tayo of resume screening or nasa initial interview na tayo, final interview, merong mga qualities talaga na hinahanap that puts you on the spotlight. And ito yung mga qualities na hinahanap ng mga employers for their potential hires. Para sa mga job seekers, for you to remain ahead, it's important that you know kung ano yung mga skills na most wanted sa workplace ngayon. Kagaya nga nitong mga pinag-uusapan natin. It's not always about the technical skills. You're good at this. Ikaw yung number 1 in your batch of this course. Ikaw na yung pinakamagaling. No. Kasi pwedeng because of that, you lack empathy. You don't know how to delegate. And kahit gaano ka kagaling in a certain technical aspect, hindi ka pa rin magiging okay na empleyado for them. And worse, ikaw mismo hindi ka magiging satisfied sa output mo. What is a modern workplace? Sa panahon ngayon, employers and recruiters, they have realized that it is much easier to train smart effects ng isang role. Mas madali yun eh. Okay, wala siyang alam sa trabahong to, pero sobrang trainable siya and very adaptable. So I'll still hire that person kahit ito mas may experience dito, pero meron siyang issues sa maybe dealing with other people. Aanin mo naman na sobrang galing niya kung hindi naman siya marunong makisama sa mga katrabaho niya. Dito lang ako sa okay, ang mga skills na to, and then I will train him or her mindset na meron ngayon. Uh, kahit na, yun nga, kahit na mas okay yung isa. Of course, may mga functions na it's important na alam mo na yung mga technical skills, no, kagaya ng pagiging doktor, ganyan. Of course, you can hire someone lang dahil ano siya, adaptable and all, and then hire him as a doctor. Train mo na lang paano maghiwa-hiwa and mag-opera. But with all the para you can determine kung sino yung i-hire mo. If you want to get the job na gustong-gusto mo or excel in your career right now, you have to look at those skills. I'll share maybe some more yung mga skills kanina and maybe some more, and assess kung nasaan ka and find the way kung paano mo mapapolish yung mga area I'm not doing really well. Mayroon pa mga iba yan apart from those mga binanggit natin kanina. Research skills, importante din yan. Ano ba yung attention mo sa detail? Public speaking is also important, especially if you're rooting for a higher role. Importante yan. Creativity, sales and marketing is really important. Math is important. And programming, there are a lot of jobs na magiging advantage kung marunong ka. All right, so how do we develop new skills? This is our next topic, and we're almost we're about to end na our slide, about one slide na lang. But how do we develop new skills? Ito na, because now we know ano ba ang mga essential skills na hinahanap ng mga employers. The next question would be, paano ba ito i-develop? Number one, you need to set goals for yourself. Set specific goals to improve your career. This will help you stay on track ng development mo. It will make sure na yung goals mo are measurable, achievable, and relevant sa profession and yung mga goals mo. And then consider organizing a timeline to achieve your goal. Naset mo na, ngayon gawa ka naman ng timeline. Kailan ba dapat ma-achieve ko to? Ito. Set ka ng beginning date, ng end date. Gawa ka rin ng mga smaller goals. Create smaller goals in between na kaya mong i-achieve along the way. Hindi yung, okay, ito ako ngayon, tapos after a year, milyonaryo na ako. Pero hindi mo alam kung paano ka magiging milyonaryo in a year. Wala kang goals in between, wala kang sinet na kahit ano. Yun lang yung gusto mo mangyari after a year. It won't work. Next, find a good mentor. Find a really good mentor. A professional mentor, ito typically mga superior na nirespeto mo, pinagkakatiwalaan mo. Kapag ka nahanap mo na yung mentor na to, you can always reach out to them in formal meetings, coffee, inuman, kahit saan man. And it can naturally develop, madi-develop in naturally yung professional relationship nyo. And mas you'll get to know kung how things, paano ba ginagawa, strategies and all. And you can always ask questions and inquiries freely and confidently. Another thing na medyo hindi nahihiya tayo or hindi tayo comfortable is we are afraid to seek feedback about sa mga strengths and weaknesses natin. But we need to do this para alam natin kung ano yung i-develop natin sa sarili natin. You can ask your superiors, you can ask your colleagues, mga katrabaho mo lang, ano ba sa tingin mo yung dapat kong i-improve And you need to accept their feedback kasi you're asking for the feedback eh. Accept mo kung ano yung criticism nila and use that to improve yourself. Kahit friends or family, tanungin mo kung ano ba yung mga strong points mo, ano yung mga areas for improvement. Importante na you ask for the honest na feedback nila kaysa dun sa automatic na praise na hindi magaling ka eh, wala okay na eh, successful din ganito mo. Kasi madalas din ang sasabihin nila because nature na natin yun, especially for Filipinos, na ayaw nating maka-offend. But create a conversation, hulmahid mo in such a way na they would share honest feedback para alam mo din. Kasi minsan, sa dami ng iniisip mo, hindi mo talaga alam kung ano ba yung pwede mong i-improve. Now, once na-identify mo na yung weaknesses mo, then you can focus on developing kung ano ba tong mga skills na kailangan for some time after half a year, to check na, oh, nabanggit mo last year na medyo mahina ako sa mahina yung communication skills ko. So, ngayon, kumusta naman? Para meron ka ring point of validation. Next, of course, to develop your skills, enroll in an online degree program. It does not have to be sa actual school, but you can go online. Maraming mga companies ang nag-encourage ng mga employees nila to further their education with a degree. May mga iba nag-offer pa actually ng tuition assistance or tuition reimbursement. So if you're trying to move up the ladder, you're trying to improve sa career mo, kunwari, especially pag sa ibang department, maybe sa accounting, sa finance, then hanap ka ng mga bagay na ng mga degrees na that can help you then to develop yung skills mo sa anggulong yon. In relation to that, take continuing education courses in career-related fields. And walang excuse dito na mahal. Mahal or wala akong oras, especially with the current situation. Ang dami-daming libreng educational courses online, Udemy, Coursera, ang dami nila. Equip yourself, continue learning, use to improve your skills and take advantage of the situation para kapag okay na lahat, awa ng Diyos, maging okay na lahat, you're ready and you have added skills na, not added list of the series na napanood mo. Kasi it may or may not help, but for learning, continuing education, definitely learning is the learning.
So we're having technical difficulties. In the meantime, think of your questions and
Hello?
yes, I think we lost you, yeah, for just a bit.
Yep. Sorry, I'm not sure what happened. Let me reshare my screen. Thanks, VJ. All right, can you see my screen na ulit?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's continue. Nawala din yung light sa camera eh. So I figured baka nawala yung connection. Anyway, going back, continue. Take advantage of company trainings, especially for most organizations. They create trainings, or they engage in independent training organizations, mga different experts sa different fields, and might as well take advantage of that to improve your skills. If you're not sure, you can ask HR, you can ask your supervisor to check and help you out. And also check if there is an option to job shadow. For some companies, may option na ganito. Job shadowing, it's actually a great way to learn more about the day-to-day activities of another profession, especially if you're eyeing a role sa ibang department or a higher level. See if merong job shadowing options para lang maintindihan mo kung ano yung mas maintindihan mo kung yun ba talaga yung gusto mo. If not, at least may natutunan ka pa din. You still get to learn new skills. And lastly, try to join professional associations in your field. No, this complements dun sa find a mentor eh. In a group setting, you would have the opportunity to converse with colleagues about your industry, help discover new skills na gusto mong i-develop. Itong mga professional organizations na to, they're usually available maybe sa school or in the community, and take advantage of that kahit yung mga even Facebook groups lang. Okay, so these are just a few of the essential skills that can benefit your life and your work. At the end of the day, self-development, it's a lifelong process into which you should continue to improve. So continue focusing on developing the skills that will best help you reach your goals. And ito nga, I'm leaving you with this line. Remember that the smallest moves are sometimes the smartest. All right. So thank you so much for spending the time with me. And if we still have time, VJ, let's open the floor for some questions.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sir Michael, for that wonderful and very informative presentation. So we have questions now, and then so we'll start with the forum. So the first question is from Marianito Jr. So his question is, what if your teammates tend to rely on you too much, like a situation where though they can do the job, they tend to transfer the workload on you. So is that still team play?
By ano kasi yan eh, we can always help but to a certain extent. Hindi pwedeng kasi ang mangyayari, i-ask na lang nila sa inyo lahat. So the best way to deal pag mga ganong situations is going back to our very first skill, communication. So babalik tayo doon. We need to become effective communicators. Reach out to them. Tell them, baka naman kasi hindi lang talaga nila alam yung gagawin or they don't know the step-by-step process and nahiya lang silang aminin. So instead, pinapasa nila sa inyo. So maybe teach them kung paano gagawin, and then assist them sa mga susunod na times. And eventually, kakayanan na nila kasi definitely meron at merong reason kung bakit nila ginagawa yon. If naman um, you've done that already and ganun talaga si employee and you feel na it's out of your control, maybe hindi naman ikaw yung boss niya, then balik ulit tayo sa communication, talk to your boss, tell your boss na ganito, ito yung mga nangyayari, and let the boss handle the situation bilang siya din yung may authority. And let's trust that the boss would use these essential skills, communicate well. Baka naman kasi si employee hindi talaga siya happy dun sa ginagawa niya. Baka pwede siyang ilagay sa ibang role or ibang project kung saan siya mas mag-enjoy and mas magpa-participate. VJ.
Okay, thank you, Sir Michael. I think you've answered the question very well. And the second question is from Mario Fabia. So this is regarding soft skills, which you've discussed. So his
Mhm.
question is, what are the indicators that soft skills acquired and translated uh, has already, I think, has already been translated to an organization culture?
Um, we'll have dalawa yung angulo titignan natin diyan, Mario. Number one is if you're already part of the organization or if you're looking into joining the organization and you're looking kung nandun ba yung soft skill or essential skill na yon. So if you're already part of the organization, this is medyo mas madali for you to figure out if this is something that's already integrated sa organization or it's part of the organizational culture just by day-to-day activities, just by monitoring how people work, how they address questions, how they deal with their subordinates. Malalaman mo na agad na okay, itong kumpanya to, they value feedback, they value people pitching in their thoughts. Malalaman mo na agad. Now, if you're not yet part of the organization, kunwari company X, you really wanted to join them, pero gusto malaman medyo bossy ba yung mga tao doon, papakinggan ba nila yung mga feedback ko, you want to check if those are evident, then the best way is to check your network. Tingnan mo through maybe LinkedIn, or your connections, your friends na nag-work na doon, and check with them first kung kumusta ang culture. And definitely, they'll give you honest feedback. Kung maganda ang culture, sasabihin nila. Kung hindi, you'll get to hear then yung mga areas for improvement. If wala namang ganun, there are a lot of platforms on the internet, including the company's Facebook page. Sometimes people would leave comments, parang reviews on those pages. You can also check JobStreet, Glassdoor, Indeed. Most people or employees would leave their feedback of a certain organization. So pwede mo rin tingnan yung mga yon if you wanted to validate if yung skill ba na yon is evident sa organization na that you'd like to join. VJ.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Another question. Actually, we have a lot of time for questions. Yes. This one's from Catherine Joy Habal, and her question is about how to market herself. So, how can I market myself, and why will a company choose someone or another person over me? So, what tips can you give me?
Great question. And I'll answer as both um, an HR and um, a businessman, a company owner. Um, minsan, Catherine Joy, minsan malalaman na natin kaagad kung ano ang skill sets ng isang candidate based sa kung paano niya pinresent yung sarili niya through his or her way of initial communication with the company. For example, how would you feel? I'm not sure if it may be applicable to you, pero ako, how would you think I feel kung makikita ko na nag-submit ka ng resume sa email ko, pero yung resume na yon forwarded. So, meron ka ng CV na sinend mo kay San Miguel Corporation, tapos sinend mo kay Ayala Corporation, nag-apply ka sa atin, so forward mo na lang din. FYI. Alam ko na kaagad, okay, bakit ko kailangan i-hire to na hindi nga, baka nga hindi alam kung ano yung ina-applyan niya or ano yung company. Basta lang, sige, kung saan may hiring, apply lang ako, bahala na. That's one example. And most of the time, hindi na-hire yung mga ganon unless siguro where the company is really in need of a particular skill na ang hirap hanapin that na nasa'yo. Medyo may K kang gawin yon. Pero most of the time, walang ganon. Another tip would be personalization. Importante yon. Especially when you send an email, if you're applying through JobStreet, through LinkedIn, okay lang yon. Pero though may mga options doon to add parang a pitch or parang a paragraph on why they should choose you. And trust me, we read that. But if you chose na email, you have the email of the company and you wanted to send your email directly, at least compose something naman on the body of the email. Pero wag naman no limitangere, wag naman sobrang haba kasi we're busy, hindi na namin mababasa lahat. At least show dun sa body na you've read about the organization kasi as a company, gusto mo yung mga tao na interested mag-join sa kumpanya mo because of the company and not because they're looking for a job. Yun ang kailangang isipin lagi eh. And we'll talk, magpapasadaan ko ng konti. I have a separate webinar dito na ginawa ko before pero pasadaan ko ng konti kasi this is a great topic. Next, sabihin natin na nakalusot ka, maganda yung body, nakagawa ka ng body, nakapag-send ka ng email. Pagbukas mo ng resume, Comic Sans ang font ng pangalan, Arial ang position, kinapi-paste ito sa baba, sabog-sabog, indention, dun pa lang alam mo na, especially kung ang role requires someone with attention to detail, bagsak na. Sarili niyang resume na ginagamit niya lagi, hindi niya maayos, why should I hire her or him for that matter? So it's important na doon pa lang kita na kaagad yung level of your professionalism, your organized, etc. Kompleto na. Nandun na lahat ng mga kailangan. You're very cautious sa mga grammatical errors, different font size, unnecessary bold, indentation, mga punctuation. Importante yung mga yan eh. Doon din, filter mo kaagad eh. Pagka-open mo, ano to? Bakit colorful? Bakit may mukha ni ganito? I've seen a resume na half body nandoon as if, siguro kung nag-apply siya as model, okay yon, half body, naka siya side. Talagang naka-emphasize yung pagka-sexy niya. Pero I'm hiring for an office supervisor, hindi a model. So, hindi applicable, which would bring us back doon sa personalization. Don't use a CV across all your applications, the same CV. Kailangan alam mo talaga kung ano yung gusto mo. I wanted a job in this field. I'll look for the companies na hiring. I'll create, tailor-fit my CV sa requirements nila. Ang sabi sa job posting nila, we wanted someone who has shown great leadership skills. Highlight that. When you send your CV, highlight that. Okay, with my current employer, I'm the lead for this. I was the point of contact for this. Na-address. And then kung meron kang another employer who wanted to see na kung paano mo na-improve yung process, highlight that as well. From my previous company, ito yung challenges, bagsak yung performance, this is what I did. I was able to turn it around to 5% from ganito. That helps as opposed sa, okay, senior process engineer, date, company. Okay, so ang daming nag-a-apply. Bakit kailangan ikaw ang i-hire ko? I don't see anything special from you. Importante kasi yung mga yon. Now, sorry, medyo mahaba to kasi I'm very particular sa topic na to eh. Provided na nalusutan mo ulit yon, nalusutan mo yung pag sa email, nalusutan mo yung resume, you've been invited to the interview. Malalaman na kaagad if you're into the interview, if you come prepared, you did your homework, nag-research ka, inalam mo lahat, kaya itanong or hindi, inalam mo lahat, nag-research ka, you're confident but not overconfident, you smile, you shake hands. I'm not sure kung baka hindi applicable because of the new normal, but shaking hands is a really good sign of professionalism. Saying please, saying thank you, is a really good sign na okay tong empleyadong to. And they'll have a lot of, mapapansin mo mga, ang tawag ng mga candidates and mga Miss Universe questions. But the truth is, they ask those questions to really understand kung paano ba dinidil yung ganong situation. Meron mga, tell me about a time when you've had to manage a difficult coworker. Anong ginawa mo na parang, okay, bakit ko kailangan sabihin, wala namang kinalaman sa ina-applyan ko ngayon na social media manager. Because they wanted to see kung pag dumating ba ang sitwasyon na to, paano ba i-handle, ano ba yung ginawa mo in the past. Yun ang purpose ng mga questions na yun. Um, and afterwards, ito, I'll share one trick that would leave, at last na to, sorry, that would leave a very good impact when you're applying. After your interview, send a thank you note. Wala nang gumagawa niyan masyado ngayon. Send a thank you note. Kung na-invite ka ng interview via email, pag uwi mo ng bahay or after the interview, send a thank you note. Thank you for the opportunity. It was great learning about the company. I look forward to joining you really soon. Or kung text ka, text mo. Thanks for the time I had. I enjoyed the discussion. I hope I'll be considered. It makes such difference. Dahil ko an interview, kunyari 10 interview ko today, maraming magagaling. Kung pangalawa ka, pangatlo ka, hindi na kita naalala. Pero ikaw yung nag-email sa akin, nag-acknowledge na yung pagod na ginawa ko is something that you appreciate, then I'll most probably hire you kasi you have that skill that you know how I felt for the day. You know that I've spent time with you. And you know how yung andun yung people skills mo. Yun siguro, yun yung mga tips, short tips na share ko. As mentioned, medyo mas mahaba pa to, mga an hour or two of discussions. Pero yun yung mga small tips that I would like to share para mas may advantage ka. Kasi ginagawa na ng lahat, ginagawa na nila yan eh. Smile, sasabihin nila again, smile, be confident, dating ka ng maaga, dress to impress. Alam na nila yan. Pero kung lahat kayong 10 ginagawa yon, yun ang mga ways. Kailangan, kumbaga, meron kang signature, which is yung mga bagay na hindi ginagawa ng iba, na yun nga ang mga yon. So I hope that helps. VJ.
Yeah, that's the first time that I've heard of that tip. Thank you. So maybe I'll use that moving forward. But there's another question I think related to um application. So this one's from an anonymous sender. So how do we highlight essential skills during the interview?
Um, Actually, there is no need talaga to highlight kasi the HR or the recruiter would really look for the essential skills na kaagad. But if you feel na hindi na-highlight and you wanted to highlight, then you can always inject it when you respond to questions. Ang lagi kong sinasabi, gandun nga tayo sa kanina, storytelling. No? It's always good that you tell a story. Wag naman sobrang haba kasi minsan nakaka-bored din. But you tell a story. Pag tinanong ka, so tell me about your previous job. You don't just say, okay, I work as a web developer. I develop websites for 3 years. Okay, alam ko kasi yun nga ang trabaho mo eh. So what you do is you tell a story. and they wanted to hear that story kasi that's how they'll differentiate you eh. So I've worked with company X as a software developer for 3 years. I've handled three clients. One was really difficult kasi maybe he's Indian, and the project would take 5 months to create pero gusto niya 3 months lang. I work day and night to achieve the target because I don't want to disappoint the client. After which, I work on another project. Alam na nila kaagad na, okay, this person is hardworking. This person can multitask, can meet deadlines. So based lang from your storytelling, na-check na yung mga essential skills mo. But if you just parang ano lang, isang tanong, isang sagot, wala. Huwag kang mag-expect na that they'll hire you. Kasi kung ganun lang din, sana binasa lang nila yung resume mo. So I hope that helps. VJ.
Okay, thank you. So we have more questions. Um, this one's from Sherwin. So his question is I think this is timely with regard to having a millennial workforce. So how
Mhm.
do you have tips on how to on leading millennial workforce, specifically engineers?
On how to what? Sorry.
Leading, I think how to lead.
Manage. How to manage them. How to manage. Okay. First things first. Um, we need to ano ba understand and be very cautious when we use the term millennials. um, yung mga kabataan hindi sila millennials, no? Yun ang I wanted to put it out there. Millennials can actually be us, no? Yung mga batang 90s are millennials, late 80s are millennials. Pero if we're talking about yung mga teenagers ngayon, they're not millennials. They're iba maraming terms eh. Centennials, Gen Z, um, and iba yung approach sa kanila. So, and I'll talk and explain both. For millennials, the best way to manage millennials is ano kasi yung mga yan nabuhay mga yan talaga akala mo hindi ako kasama. Ano kasi tayo nabuhay both pre-technology and may technology na. Ganun tayo eh na experience natin pareho. So alam natin kung gaano kabilis nag-evolve yung mga bagay-bagay and things can be better. So we can be merong mga times na mabobore tayo kapag it's routinary. That's why they would leave kapag paulit-ulit yung ginagawa. How to manage millennials? They would always they're always hungry for challenging roles, for innovation. What can they contribute? Ano bang pwede kong gawin? I've also noticed na they're very particular sa community affairs. No, masipag yan sa mga outreach programs, kahit hindi bayad, no, masipag yung mga yan, helping other people, making an impact. I think that's the best term. Making an impact internally through your organization and externally. And that's the best way to manage them. Try to look for ways on how we can make the corporate life interesting and not routinary for them. While going to the Gen Z, eto kasing mga Gen Z, ano talaga sila, medyo not all, pero most would have issues sa essential skills. Kasi maybe their parents are millennials, so the parents introduced them to technology na sobrang aga pa. Nag-iba na yung panahon, medyo mataas ang crime rate, so hindi pinapalabas ng bahay, mahina ang social skills, baka maaksidente, baka kunin ang laman loob, ganun ang mindset eh. So hindi natin pinapalabas yung mga yan, nasa bahay lang. So medyo mahina sa teamwork, medyo mahina sa social skills. Yun ang kailangan naman nating i-target sa kanila. Maybe if we have They prefer kasi to work independently kasi nasanay din silang ganon. They prefer to use technology, innovate din kasi they know that meron pang something na pwedeng gawin dito. So we don't have to be close-minded. And actually, ang itong generation na to ang pinakamaganda if you're looking kung yung function involves marketing, if it involves anything that has something to do with social media, designing, yung mga creative stuff, sila talaga yung magagaling dyan kasi exposed sila sa new trends sa technology. So might as well, don't put them in a job na routinary din and they can't express themselves. At the end of the day, hindi na nag-work ngayon na ako yung employer, ito yung culture ko, mag-adjust kayo dahil kayo yung empleyado. Hindi na ganun ang workplace ngayon because there are a lot of competitions in terms of kung saan pwedeng mag-hire. And people, dati kapag na-regular ka, dun ka na eh. Ngayon, kahit saan ka magpunta, ma-regular ka. You stay for 6 months, regular ka. Pag ayaw mo, alis ka. So, we need to find a way on how we can keep people by making adjustments internally that would fit them then. And one good thing na pwedeng gawin dun is to ask to have employee engagement surveys. Employee climate survey ang tawag ng iba. Do a company-wide surveys, anonymous surveys, maybe twice a year to check kung ano ba yung mga recommendations nila and you'll be surprised kung ano yung mga magiging findings nun that you can adapt to your workplace. So, yun, I think yun ang best way to manage. Another would be flexible then, offer flexible solutions for them. Hindi na, especially for Gen Z, hindi na sila, hindi mo sila pwedeng i-treat na kapareho ng baby boomers na um, anong tawag dito na pahabaan ng oras sa office. Hindi na ganoon nag-work. Hindi hindi dahil 15 hours ka sa office masipag ka. Hindi ganoon eh. Ang mindset na dapat natin ngayon is output based. Ano bang dapat mong gawin? Sabi mo sa kanya, ito yung dapat kong gawin, gagawa niya ng paraan. Pag nagawa niya yan in 5 days, in 3 days, then good. Nagawa naman niya yung gusto mo eh. And yun naman yung kailangan mo. Hindi ba mas okay naman yun kaysa nagstay siya ng 15 hours per day for 5 days pero wala siya nagawa? So yun din, we need to adjust then on how yung workplace and how we do things to adapt dun sa changing na generations. VJ.
Okay. So this next question is actually, I think you mentioned earlier about how easy it is now to leave the company. I mean, or it's more common now. So there is a question related to COVID. So an anonymous participant asks if how do I explain myself if I resigned from my previous job due to COVID? So the present job is high risk for COVID. So what is the best way to handle or to answer that? So do you be honest about it or
Well, medyo ironic. The question is ironic and too bad anonymous yung nagtanong kasi you resign from your previous employer because of COVID, but and yet you're willing to join a new organization that would expose you. You feel that it will expose you to COVID. So medyo challenging yun kasi COVID ba talaga yung reason kung bakit ka nag-resign sa previous employer mo? Kasi if yes, then why have we considered this new company or new role in the first place na sana din natin iniwan yung previous employer. Pero if that's not the case, how to explain? Um, we just need to be honest. We just tell them what happened and see if they can make arrangements for us. If there's an option to work from home, then they'll offer, I'm sure. But there are industries, including manufacturing industries, mga field na hindi mo talaga pwedeng dalhin bahay. Yan, mga paggawaan ng maybe mga chips ng phones, ganyan, manufacturing. Hindi mo yan magagawa you can't bring that at home. Mostly mga IT related tsaka mga office jobs lang. So you need to be honest and see what if they can do something. Kasi if not, uulit ka lang. If not, pipilitin mo na you accept the offer just because it's there. Kasi nga, babalik tayo sa discussion kanina na you're joining just because you need a job and not because you want the job. And then eventually, after a week, a month, na high risk na exposed talaga ako. So magre-resign ako, hanap ulit lang ako ng iba. Sayang, nasayang yung time nila, nasayang yung time mo. And the world it's a really small world, no. Magkikita at magkikita kayo ulit, maybe not sa same organization pero sa iba. If not siya, mga katrabaho mo, mga naging teammates mo na iniwan mo sa ere, pwedeng makatrabaho mo sila in the future, pwedeng sa kanila manghingi ng feedback and masabi na umalis siya. Or worse, pwedeng maging boss mo sila in the future, sila yung hiring manager and they know na ito yung umalis nun sa ganito kahit hindi declare, alam ko. They won't hire you. So let's avoid burning bridges. If we're sure na alanganin or hindi kaya, it's not within yung mga um, requirements natin personally, then wag na lang muna kaysa pagsisihan natin. Be honest, yun muna, be honest with them, tell them na ganito, I'm not sure if we can do anything about it for now, or pwede kayang pahupain muna. I'll join in 2 months, in a month, in 2 months. I'm really eager to join, but pwede kayang in 2 months kasi I fear for my health din, or maybe I'm high risk, may hika ako kunwari. So I really like the job, pero pwede kaya is it possible na muna na wag muna ngayon, or maybe pwedeng i-delay. Ganun. If not, then wag mo nang pilitin. Look for a job talaga that would na hindi magiging present yung same reason kung bakit ka umalis. 'Di ba? Para ka kasing nun para kang dahil sa generation natin, para kang nagjowa tapos pinagpalit ka. So niloko ka, pinagpalit ka sa iba, kaya mo iniwan, tapos naghanap ka ng bagong jowa na alam mong lolokohin ka rin. Parang gano'n yung parang gano'n yung analogy. So bakit, 'di ba? Bakit pa ako? Tanungin mo kung ito yung nangyari before, ayokong mangyari at meron ba tayong puwedeng gawin, 'di ba? Napunta tayo, naging different na yung topic natin. Pero yon, just to send the right message across, gano'n siya. Mahirap, pero yun, honesty is still the best policy. BJ.
Thank you, Sir Michael. So yes, it's really important not to burn bridges and just to be honest, I think. Sir Michael, we have 4 more questions. Can you answer all of them, or do you still have time? Or
Sure. Sige. Maybe pwede kayang sorry, I have an engagement ng 9:30. Maybe let's answer one more and then the rest, if VJ you can send it via email, and then I'll answer and let's reach out to them para I can give them an answer then.
okay. So we'll answer one last question, and then we'll send in all your questions if you have more to Sir Michael, so he
Yes,
can
please.
adjust them. So
Very
I think
happy to help.
the last question is about cross-functional skills. So this is from Darwin Takubanza. So his question is, what can you say about cross-functional skills like finance combined with technical skills or tech skills? Is this advisable?
Actually, thank you for the question. Specific to sa tech ha, anything that's combined with tech or IT related um, is advisable and highly recommended. I don't see a problem with cross-functional skills. It actually you can actually use it to your advantage eh. Kasi maybe you have colleagues na accounting lang or finance lang yung alam, but ikaw, you know accounting and you also know tech. So you can integrate yung nalalaman mo sa tech sa current process nyo and help out the team. Check natin doon yung teamwork natin, yung cooperation natin, being a team player. So anything, especially with this time and age, anything that involves IT and the skills ng technical that is yung computer talaga skills would be really beneficial sa kahit anong job, kahit anong functions. As simple as Excel, no? Ang daming wonders ang kayang gawin ng Excel if you're not familiar or medyo hindi nyo pa ganong kinakalkal ang Microsoft Excel. It makes things way easier. And Excel pa lang yun. There are a lot of stuff na pwede pa. We have Canva, we have a lot of tools that would make things better for you sa skills mo and for the team na kung nasaan ka. So cross-functional, no problem. It's actually advisable and you have the advantage if dumating yung time, say in your example, finance and tech and IT, dumating yung time na i-automate na. Things can be automated. And yung mga manual na trabaho is hindi na kailangan. So hindi ko na kailangan ng mga manual na mag-aasikaso ng mga papers, but I need someone who understands the process and can work with this new system that we're introducing. Nandun ka na. You're already there. Kasi you know both eh. So yun yung kagandahan din. And don't be afraid to, dahil lang hindi mo siya alam, matatakot ka to venture out. Mas maganda nga eh na you equip yourselves with as much learning and skills na kaya mo para mas flexible ka. And you can actually use that to your advantage. Kung ako ang nag-hire ng isang tao, ito lang yung alam niya ng isang candidate, but itong isang candidate alam niya A, B, C, and D. Kahit alam kong hindi ko kailangan ngayon yung B, C, and D, ay i-hire ko siya kasi baka kakailanganin ko siya in the future or baka I'll have a position na kakailanganin ko siya or baka I can create a new role na kakailanganin ko ng tao na meron lahat ng to. Hindi na maghahanap kasi nandiyan na siya. So, yun, that's to answer your question on cross-functional na mga essential skills. VJ.
Thank you so much, Sir Michael, for well being with us tonight and for answering all those